What we took for granted was only a figment of our imagination. After experiencing an unprecedented pandemic, how should we derive new ideas and put them into practice? In Vision of the Future this year, we talk with top Japanese executives as we envision the shape of a new society together with our viewers. This time, we're putting the spotlight on this person.
First, I want to ask you about your company's recently compiled midterm management plan. It covers a 5-year period, which is slightly longer than before. Would you tell us about the key points? A major point is that we switched to a 5-year plan. Until now, we've been pushing ahead as the Daiwa House Group under a midterm plan of 3 years. So this isn't about slowing down the pace, but rather about spending 5 years to solidly deliver tangible results. That's why we tell our employees to not feel rushed, that they have until the 5th year to achieve results. This is also what we explain to our shareholders. Many things can happen in the interim, but we will fully match our results to what we promised in the 5th year. And a key point is that we will do this steadily without fail. I see. Another point is that we've continued to push ahead to this day, and we wanted to reassess our progress in this adjustment phase. The corporate philosophy of our owner, our founder, was to cultivate people through our businesses. So we're taking this time to stop and reflect. An important and indispensable point for company management today is the environmental issue. Would you tell us about your company's initiatives to achieve carbon neutrality? I'd like to start with a word we often use now, the ZECH ratio. We also have what we call ZEB and ZECH-M. We will achieve all of these by 2030, and we've already made that promise externally to reach 100% of those targets. 100% by 2030 is very fast. We also have what we call RE100, through which we'll generate 100% of the electricity used by our businesses from renewable sources. We had originally set a goal of using 100% renewable energy across the entire Daiwa House Group, including our overseas businesses, by 2040. The schedule's been brought forward by 17 years, and that actually means by 2023. What? Is that true? That's what we're doing now. Why have you been able to speed up the schedule? Looking across other companies, it's probably very difficult to produce renewable energy. We have an environmental energy division, and it's something we've been doing for a while now. We're engaged in wind power generation, and even lesser known, hydropower generation, meaning your company has advantages built up over the years. Precisely. We were already operating these businesses just as people started becoming interested in them. It's what our owner, our founder, had long been doing. He said that in the 21st century, opportunities in fields such as the environment will arrive. That's why we've been engaged in businesses such as solar, hydro, and wind. I see. Our employees have also started taking pride in engaging in initiatives that have meaning for the earth rather than as a business. Resources that continue to circulate. The circular economy of energy was a phrase we didn't quite understand when it was first proposed. But the circulation of resources is essential for us, isn't it? What about your company's Liveness Town project and redevelopment of public wholesale markets, for example? Yes, in regards to Liveness Town, at the time they were built, populations were continuing to increase and showed no signs of slowing. And we expected communities to keep growing. There were probably no companies that they were able to fully foresee the grain society we have today. But there's been a slight increase in vacant homes in the towns we built, and populations have started aging. The SDG of responsible production needs to be modified to the past tense and not just refer to the present. We wanted to take responsibility for what we made in the past. We're the most knowledgeable about the towns and buildings we built. We also have all the construction blueprints and documents. So we started working on this, thinking about what kind of new design we ourselves can apply to these towns to show a vision of the future to the residents now. We have towns in more than 60 locations nationwide, and we've started by focusing our resources on 8 of those as a first step. Will this have a positive effect on new things your company builds in the future? I believe so. It will reinforce the idea that Daiwa House Group will properly take responsibility for and transform what it builds to match the times. People will see how towns are redeveloped and revived and be reassured that even if they move to a new town, Daiwa House will always be around. For customers who are actual residents, there's a strong sense of security and they can feel a sense of joy and happiness as they continue to live in the towns. Exactly. We also have a policy allowing our employees to work on side businesses within the company. So people who are interested in getting involved in certain projects can participate in them on their own time. They can do the things they've wanted to do. Some have even become residents of certain projects because they wanted to be more involved. They've actually moved to these towns. Is that so? Yes. They've moved to those towns and joined local residents associations. We, as a company, have left those towns once after developing them. But we have employees who move to those towns to thoroughly research the quality of life there. So, this is certainly not something we can achieve today or even tomorrow. Still, by taking the first steps, we believe the elderly in those towns can feel that their communities are getting better. At the same time, beyond just the elderly, we're also working to bring young people back to those towns. These are our 2 missions. This is also an issue for many multifamily residences nationwide, so they could serve as good case studies. I agree. This year or next, we're hoping to hold a Neapolis summit at a training center in Nara called Kotokurie, which we built to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of the company founder. We want to gather the heads of the residents' associations of the towns we built, even by remote, to discuss the various issues they're facing and offer our solutions. We want to demonstrate externally our commitment. We also have many people internally who want to carry this out. So, we're placing great importance on how to allocate these people. Your employees wholeheartedly agree with your management policy and want to take action. Yes. The revival of towns can bring joy to the residents. Conversely, this initiative has reinforced for us the idea that what we do is a promise to people, our customers, and to the towns we live in. I have to agree. It seems to truly manifest the joy of management, employees, and customers. Certainly. Finally, would you give our viewers a question? Last year, when we announced our 7th midterm management plan, we defined our purpose as our future landscape, celebrating the joys of life. I want to understand how Daiwa House can demonstrate the importance of the joy of living in 2055, the 100th anniversary of our founding. We've carried out various surveys of primarily young people about how our company should be. The reason is because I won't be here at 2055, and neither will most of the managers here today. But we want to ask them how they want us to steer the company. We've held numerous hearings and incorporated some of their opinions in our management decisions. We talk in vague terms about our future landscape, celebrating the joys of life. But I want to show our employees that landscape. So, my question to your viewers is, what does the joy of life mean for you? The answer may possibly clarify your company's landscape in 2055. If we can see that, it might point the way for us. We see things from the inside, but the landscape of joy as seen from the outside may be something we're unable to fully realize. I want to make that our foundation and future together with our employees.
What does the joys of life mean for you? Let us know your opinions and suggestions on the question raised in the program.